Hello and welcome. Glad to have you with us today. I'm Tom Sinclair, that VidBlaster guy, and we are just having a bunch of fun on VidBlaster stuff this week. And I got a great guest for you. I'm really thrilled. You know, we end up with going to have several good guests in a row. Ted Kazmirzack from Tally Lights is here. He's hanging out in the green room, warming up, getting ready to come in with us and talk about Tally Lights. But before we do that, I want to say Ted is a great example of what's going on in our industry today. And I'm gonna pick on Ted for just a minute, and then we'll bring him in and let him defend himself. But Ted has got the idea. He's got the concept right. He's got his Tally Lights, and his idea is that he wants his Tally Lights to be available to work on anything and everything that's out there. Where some of the technology that he's working with is proprietary, easy for me to say, he's going out there to figure out how to make things work with his Tally Lights. And so as a result, his Tally Lights work with just about everything. And it's the attitude that I really want to pick up on, that he says, you know, I want to help folks get what they need. So we're going to invest the time and the energy up front to make things work so that when they want to use them, they're available to be working. And I wish more folks that I worked with in this industry were like that said, you know, let's invest the time and energy to make things work. And, you know, not everything's going to be a home run, but if we keep doing it, if we keep standing up to the plate, you know, we get enough at-bats here, we swing in enough pitches, we're going to hit some out of the ballpark, but we're going to hit a lot of singles and doubles and triples as well. And as anybody that plays baseball knows, it's getting on base that's the key. And Ted wants to get his Tally Lights on base with everybody. So with no further ado, let me bring Ted in. Ted, welcome to the show. We're glad to have you with us today.
Thank you, Tom. It's good to be with you.
Ted and I worked on things yesterday and trying to get things set up, and we had an audio issue that we just could not conquer. And what it sounds like is that there's a dryer, a clothes dryer going in the background with somebody's tennis shoes in it, and that's really not the case. But we couldn't get that problem licked, and we didn't want to keep Ted off the air with us. So we're gonna go through with it. So just ignore the tennis shoes and the dryer in the background. That's not really what they are. They're an audio artifact that's being generated by a PC somewhere in the line. But Ted, your Tally Lights now work with VidBlaster. That is so cool.
Yes, we got together with Mike in the Netherlands, and he put the software into VidBlaster that we needed to make our Tally Lights work.
That's cool. That's cool. Now tell me about that process. I mean, you know, how did you get started? How did you even know that VidBlaster would be interested in having Tally Lights?
Well, anybody who does any studio broadcasting always needs Tally Lights, and they know they need it. But most of the Tally Lights systems out there are $1 million, and so we needed to get something together to make it worthwhile for people who have small budgets.
Okay. And so did you approach Mike, or did he approach you?
I approached Mike originally, and then he approached me saying, what can we do to make it work like other switchers do? And so my son, who's my software engineer, got together with him, and he put the software that we needed into his system to make it work.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. And kudos to Mike, too, for doing that. Well, how did you get into this whole Tally Lights business to begin with?
It's a long story, but
well, we've got some time, but
I used to go to weddings and parties and stuff, especially the weddings, with my big Magnavox VHS recorder, and would tape the wedding, and then at the end of the night give it to the bride and groom as my present to them. So then my wife found out about a class here in Troy, Michigan from CMN TV, a 10-week course on television production. So she signed me up. I gladly took the classes, and we got into the studio work on it, and the instructor says, you know, it's nice, but our tally lights won't work. And he says, and we can't find anybody to make them work. To which I said, can I try? And they said, hey, have at it, go for it. So I went back, did my research, and I made a controller up, took it over there, we plugged it in, and it made their tally lights work.
Ted, what kind of background have you got that you could do that?
None. It's
I love it.
Yeah, I was a computer mold designer by trade, and but I've always looked for challenges. So when this came up, you know, I like to research it, so I did it. It worked, and then I said to my son, "How many other studios, churches, PEC stations, whatever, that are in this situation?" And so my son, we built a website, and it started it, and it's been snowballing ever since.
Oh my goodness! So how many different systems do your tally lights work with?
Oh God, probably 20 or 30. I'm not sure, but all the major ones it'll work with, and then if a switcher has a tally output, I can make it work.
Okay. And you were telling me before that there were really two basic kinds of tally lights. Tell us about that.
Right. You have two basic ones. One is closure, which is most of the systems out there, which is just a contact closure. And then the other one is they supply voltage out the switcher. So if you supply voltage, again, we go directly to my tally light. But if you need closure, we have to change it over from a closure signal to a voltage signal, and that's what one of my tally controllers does. And again, too, with the VidBlaster, it's my USB controller, which allows you to have program and preview for the camera operator.
Gotcha. And the tally lights are really they're really cool. They're not very large. They've got a little hot shoe connection on the bottom, so they'll go right onto the top of the camera. This one has got 6 LEDs on it, and it plugs into a simple 3.5 millimeter audio cord right into the side. And when you click on that camera, you have lights. It is slicker than snuff. Now, here in a one-man studio, obviously, I know which camera I'm on, but I would imagine that anywhere where you've got more than one camera or more than one talent, you know, you would benefit by knowing that you are on the camera. Right.
One advantage of my tally light also is there's a red switch on the back of it, and you can actually turn the 6 LEDs on the front completely off, but the camera operator LED on the back will still function.
Aha. Oh, that's cool. Okay. So that's going to be this one right here. I think, let's see if we've got a picture of this on Ted's website. Let's pull that one up for just a second. And you can see the tally light. I think in this case, Ted, it's connected to a wireless controller. Is that right?
Yes, that's the wireless receiver.
Okay.
And then, too, the mounting of the tally light, like you showed, it goes in a hot shoe. But I also make stems for it, for like the Blackmagic camera that has a 1/4-20 tapped hole. So and that's what Mike used out in the Netherlands for his camera to mount them on them.
Okay. Oh, that's cool.
And I was going to say, we can also Velcro them, rubber band it. However you want to do it, we can make it work. And then one nice thing about my tally light systems is I guarantee it 100%. And if for any reason you don't like what you got, you can send it back and I'll pay for the shipping there and back. So, like I said.
And that's the attitude I was talking about right there, folks, where he is going to make sure that he's standing behind, that his system is, I love it, Ted, it's bulletproof. That's great. And right here on the back it says tally-lights.com, and it has the phone number. You don't have to search around. How many times have you gone to a website to try to find out how to contact somebody about something, and you've got to jump through hoops to contact them? There's no phone number, or there's just a contact form. Ted's got his phone number on the product right there. I love it.
It's on all my products that I can put it on.
Now, where are these manufactured?
In Michigan, here in Troy. We have a little manufacturing facility.
Ah, okay. Cool. Cool. Now, what else do you make besides tally lights and controllers and accessories?
No, that's basically it. It's just the tally lights, the controllers. I make. I just made up a bracket for a auto cue prompter to mount my tally light on a teleprompter. So if it needs a tally light, we'll get it there somehow.
Wow. Okay. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. Now, you can go to Ted's website, tally-lights.com, to purchase these. Or very soon, you can go to our website, easternshorebroadcasting.com, to purchase them also. And we'll sell the ones that work with VidBlaster and with Wirecast and with TriCaster and with others, as well as the wireless ones. And I understand that vMix is in the works. We're going to talk about that in the second segment here in a little bit. Ted, you asked me to remind you, as we were talking today on the VidBlaster, that VidBlaster guy, that your tally lights also worked with teleprompters. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, the tally light controller, we can hook up if the teleprompter has its own tally lights on it. We can hook it up and connect it so that the tally lights on the prompters will work. Or again, too, can put my tally light somewhere on it. A lot of times, people will actually mount the tally light underneath the prompter because there's no camera operator. It's a stationary camera.
Right.
So, and some of them have remote cameras, and they put my tally light in the ceiling. So we can almost mount them anywhere. I work with you. Like I said, we'll make it work.
I am loving this. I'm loving this. It's like, and there are probably people out there that wish, oh, golly, I wish there was a way we could, folks that are not coming from a typical broadcast background, but have discovered this new technology and have got a passion to bring a message to an audience. And they're going, I've got these 5 guys that are sitting around here on couches in my studio, but they never know, they don't know that they're on camera or not. I wish we had a solution. Well, here is that solution, Tally Lights from tally-lights.com. And Ted.
Yeah, I would say, too, we had a customer that had their studio in Miami, Florida. The studio in New York City, and switcher was down in Miami, Florida. And we actually made my tally lights work from Miami, Florida.
I love it. I love it. And so somebody in Miami could switch a camera in New York. And when they switched that camera in New York, the tally light on the new camera would come on.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. But then, too, when I sent you the USB controller for the VidBlaster,
right.
You had to set up a module that Mike had put into his software.
That's right.
Talk about that a little bit.
That's right. Yes, there's a module called Tally Lights that has to be enabled, and the Tally Light module is actually available in all the different editions of VidBlaster, from the Home to the Pro to the Studio to the Broadcast edition. All the editions have this Tally Light feature, and it's just a module. You put the module present. And then as you have a camera, it automatically, whenever you switch to that camera and the little red light on the module in VidBlaster, the tally light that's on the module in VidBlaster comes on, the corresponding tally light will come on as well. Now, one of the things that we've put in as a feature request with VidBlaster is that the tally light will not just be generated when you click a camera, but it also will be generated when you click some of the other modules that contain cameras. For example, this shot that we're using right here, it's a camera shot on me, but there's a green screen in the background. And so we're using an effects module to key out the green in the background and replace it with this mobile unit. So, I mean, with the studio in the studio image in the background. So when we click on this big shot right here, right now the tally light doesn't come on because we're not clicking on the specific camera module itself. But I think it's simply a simple assignment table that needs to be organized, and then the user can choose, to assign the tally light to whatever module they want. I think that's going to be the best way to handle it. Or in this case, if Ted were in the studio and we're here physically present with me, and so there was a camera on me and a camera on him, when we went to this dual shot, both tally lights would come on. So he would know that he was on camera and I would know that I were on camera. But in our case right now, Ted's in Michigan and I'm down here in Alabama, and we don't have a remote tally light system set up for Ted because, well, he's the only guest, so he's the only one. Let's see. Ted, you'd also mentioned, and we'll probably touch base with this. We'll touch on this again in the next segment. But that in addition to the audio cable, the real simple audio cable that your tally lights run on, that they run on other kinds of cables as well. Tell us about that.
Oh, you can set up where it comes out of my USB controller and a tally light with a 6-foot cable, and on the end you can have an XLR or BNC connector, whatever you prefer. So you put one on the VidBlaster, one on the camera, and then you run your own XLR or BNC cable between the two.
Gotcha.
And you can go up to 600 feet without a problem.
Now, how far will this little cable take us?
600 feet.
Oh, this will go 600 feet too?
Yes.
Okay. So it's just a matter of what kind of cable you've got hanging around.
I was going to say they're in 50-foot length, so you just got to keep connecting.
Whereas XLR, you can get one cable. Right.
One cable with a 100-foot roll on it or a 600-foot roll on it and roll it out.
Right. And every connector is an opportunity for something not to work. So the fewer connectors you have, the fewer problems you have.
Yes.
Got it. All right. Yeah, I had to set up a cameraman's intercom set up with these and use these as audio cables, and I had 2 or 3 of these joined together, and inevitably there would be a bad connection and somebody wouldn't hear or couldn't speak.
Yeah. Well, one problem too with that small audio cable like that, if you have it in the studio setting, you run your camera over that cable and it'll pinch it and kill it. That's why you want to go then to a BNC or XLR, which is a lot thicker and a lot more doable.
There you go. There you go. That's the voice of experience. One of the, talking about troubleshooting, one of the things that I struggled with initially, Ted was kind enough to send me an evaluation unit, and it ran for a little while, and then it shut down. And Ted and I were both scratching our heads on this one, and I think it was Stephen Haywood from the Tech Buzz that said, it may not be getting enough power, guys. And so I put it on a powered hub, and that was the end of the problem. My USB port wasn't supplying enough power to the controller for whatever reason. Putting it on an inexpensive powered hub fixed the problem, and it's worked flawlessly ever since. But Ted, I think you were the one that went out to Stephen and said, Stephen, what's going on? Well, why isn't this working? Because Stephen had tested this with his Wirecast system. In fact, you were present in his studio for the show, because I remember watching that show.
Yes, I went down to Pennsylvania with him, and we did the show right from his studio. And so I talked to Steve a lot, and so when this problem developed, I picked his brain a little bit, and so he gave us a suggestion, and it worked.
He's a smart guy. He's a smart guy. You were recently, too, at the NAB National Association of Broadcasters trade show and had some of your tally lights going out there. Tell me about that.
Well, we were at NAB. I did not have a booth there, but had my tally lights in 3 booths out there. One of them was the prompter people, and I've been with them probably 5-6 years, and every year we put the tally lights in their booth blinking on and off one and another. And so it was a good show. Everybody, has a lot of questions.
Good.
So
good.
But it's a lot of walking around, talking to people, and
right.
And then what was funny was I'm walking around there with my badge that says Ted Kazmirzack tally lights, and how many people would stop me and say, "Ted, I bought stuff from you." And he says, "Well, how you like it?" Great, So
that's fun, isn't it?
Oh yes,
yeah. And it's not like, damn it, Ted, I bought it. They're happy to see you because they're thrilled with what you've done. Yeah.
Yeah. And if for any reason my tally light stops working, let me know, and I will send you another one, because the LEDs should never burn out. Normally, what I find is people have a tendency to plug an audio cable into my tally light. And with the overpowering of the voltage, my tally light does not like that.
So the same cable, but something that's connected to audio on the other end of it.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, we need to make sure we mark our cables for tally lights. Now, when you were developing this, did you consider anything else but LEDs?
No.
Okay.
Because the LED, they work for years and years and years. And another thing is they don't get hot like other lights do.
Right.
Because I don't know if you've seen in Michigan, they tried to put some LEDs in the stoplights.
Right.
And when it snowed, the LEDs would not melt the snow. So you had a light there with all snow on it, and you couldn't see it.
It's not a problem that we run into down here in Alabama very often.
That's true.
We don't have snow issues, and I never ever would have considered that would have been so. That was the heat from the stoplight. So they intended to have the heat from the stoplight to melt the snow off. That's too cool. I guess it would only work for the green and the yellow then, because they're underneath the red one. The brightness control on this one can be adjusted from full bright down to no bright and anything in between. So if I'm using it in a dim room, I don't need to have it as bright. Or if I'm using it across the room, I want it as bright as it can possibly be. I'll go back to this shot right here, and you can see that these lights, they're pretty bright. And what I found in setting it up, that it immediately caught my eye. It immediately attracted my attention when it came on. I mean, there was no doubt in my mind that it was on. At one point,
I was going to say, and two, I have made my tally lights with flashing green also for preview.
I was asking about that. Yeah.
Quest people said, well, we want to see the tally light in preview for the people, and so I can make my tally light with red and green in the front, and red and green for the camera operator.
That is too cool. That is too cool. So we know that we're about to be on. We're next up and next in line. That's good. Okay, what is a set like this going to cost me?
A tally light with a 50-foot cable is $170.
Okay. Okay.
Then for VidBlaster, you're going to need a USB controller.
Okay.
And the 4-camera USB controller starts at $560.
Okay.
And all you have to do is plug it into the USB port. The computer supplies the voltage going out to my controller to supply the lights.
Okay. Okay.
So, but then like I said, you can get it 600 feet of cable if you wanted to, but a tally light with XLR or B&C 6-foot cables the tally light and cables run $240.
Uh-huh.
So, and then you can get my controller, my USB controller for 8 cameras and 1 controller, but then you could put 2 controllers into the system, so you could actually have 16 tally lights if you wanted.
Holy cow!
I haven't come across that yet,
but you've tested it and it works.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too cool. So I guess the system automatically figures out what's controller number 1, cameras 1 through 8, and controller number 2, cameras 9 through 16.
Right. Oh. Well, like I said, it's 2 USBs, and we actually, because of the serial on the chip, it knows which one is 1 through 8 and 9 through 16.
So the controllers are not identical. They're controller 1 through 8 and the controller 9 through 16.
They're identical except for the microchip inside. Serial number.
Okay. So they're not suffering from any kind of personality disorder. They understand they're either number 1 or number 2.
Right.
Gotcha. I like that. All right. I am impressed. Well, Ted, as I knew, our time has flown by, and we are flat out of time. If you're watching us live, stick around. We're going to have more of Ted on the next segment of the Streaming Idiots coming up in just a second. But
be sure and watch the Streaming Idiots, because we got a lot more things to show you.
That's right. Ted is so right. If you're watching us, excuse me. Oh, golly. Not supposed to do that. I appreciate you guys tuning in live, especially those of you that are watching us on YouTube. We appreciate that too, and we hope you'll subscribe. Full disclosure here that I am whoops, sorry about that. Was not prepared for that little thing right there. I am an authorized VidBlaster reseller, and would be delighted to help you with any upgrades or purchases of VidBlaster. And I am also, as per recently with Ted, an authorized reseller for the Tally Light system. So we are delighted and excited, and can't wait to have an opportunity to show off that. So, with no further ado, I think if I can get us out of here, we'll go to end credits. Ted, thanks so much for coming in, and stick around, and we're going to be back with more of Ted in the next segment coming up. So,
thank you for inviting me.
I'm sorry?
I said thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're welcome. Take care, folks, and we'll see you next time.